Week 11 of college football is here. Iowa has a huge showdown with the Wisconsin Badgers. The West still very much up for grabs. We'll get to my Week 11 picks, including the Hawkeyes and the Badgers. First, I want to thank Ascent Nutrition, their unbelievable coffee, their mold and mycotoxin-free coffee, as well as a number of great health products. Visit goascentnutrition.com. You guys out there that need some energy throughout your busy work week, definitely get some coffee. And again, check out their other products. GoAscentNutrition.com. Use the code Hawkeyes for 15% off. And IFC, that's Iowa Floor Covering down in Bondurant. They've got this tough core click together, 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring. They're selling it at just $269 per foot with self-installation. Visit iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. They are right in the heart of Iowa down in Bondurant. And speaking of the heart of Iowa, Under the Kitchen. Randy Engel with his great Hawkeye prints. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook for more details. So week 11 is here. College football, we are now over a week into the month of November, and some major matchups across the board, but some major matchups specifically in the Big Ten West. We'll get to Iowa and Wisconsin, but we start out with the biggest game in the West this weekend, and that is not Iowa-Wisconsin. Purdue and Illinois. The Badgers coming off a disappointing home loss to Michigan State. Purdue coming off a home loss to Iowa. Both of those games, I don't think many people predicted, although some people thought Michigan State was kind of the trendy upset pick in that game. Bottom line is both of these teams still have a shot at the West. Purdue's 3-3, tied with Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. Illinois, it's their division to lose at this point. Purdue, you wonder right now defensively where they're at. Their secondary looked bad. Their linebackers looked bad. I thought their front four was decent, but boy, they've got a lot of room to improve defensively. And boy, what happened with the offense? 3 points against the Hawkeyes. Give Iowa credit. I think Illinois wins this game. It's going to be a close one. I can see a 2 or 3 point win. The Illini win. The Boilermakers cover. Illinois favored by 6.5. Mizzou taking on Tennessee on the road. The Volunteers 20.5 point favorites. I like Tennessee in both categories. They win and they cover. Indiana, the Hoosiers taking on Ohio State. Look at this line. 39.5. The Buckeyes favored by nearly 40. I got to take Indiana, right? You got to take Indiana. Watch me be wrong. Ohio State, though, straight up Indiana against the number. TCU and Texas. Big matchup in the Big 12. The TCU Horned Frogs undefeated with Iowa native Max Duggan running that offense. I like TCU to win this game. Texas is actually the favorite here by 7. Again, this game is in Austin. I like TCU to win. I like TCU, of course, to cover. LSU taking on Arkansas. The Tigers 3 point favorites over the Razorbacks. This game is in Arkansas, though. I like LSU to go on the road, take care of business, and they cover the number. They are 3 point favorites. Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama with 2 losses. When's the last time we've said that? It's been a while. They've had years, but boy, not used to seeing more than 1 loss on the board for Alabama at this point in a season. And I think they may see a third this weekend. I like the hometown Rebels. I think Ole Miss gets the job done, even though Alabama 11.5 point favorites on the road, despite coming off that loss last week. Maryland and Penn State. The Terrapins played Michigan close in the Big House. That's kind of the game I would equate to this matchup. I don't think they're able to hang with Penn State like they hung with Michigan. This is kind of the part of the year where Maryland tends to kind of fade off. You know, we've had years where they've started off 4-0, 5-0. Not saying they're going to fade off into oblivion this year, but I think Penn State wins handily. They cover the number. They're 10.5 point favorites. North Carolina taking on Wake. The Demon Deacons, 3.5 point favorites. I like Wake Forest to win. I like them to cover at home. Louisville and Clemson. Clemson, the 7 point favorites at home. A little bit surprised this isn't a bigger line. I like the Tigers. Maybe I'll fall for the bait on this one. I like Clemson to win. I like Clemson to cover the 7. Washington on the road at Oregon. Michael Penix and Washington trying to go on the road and pull off an upset against the Ducks. The Ducks are 13.5 point favorites in Autzen Stadium. I like Oregon to win. I think they'll cover that number, but don't be surprised if this is a high-scoring game between a couple of transfer portal quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Michael Penix, going head-to-head. Both of those guys have been sensational all year. Georgia taking on Mississippi State. Georgia 16.5-point favorites on the road. Got to take Miss State against that number. I like Georgia to win the game. I think Mississippi State keeps it fairly close. They can score points. They can also get scored on. Not real confident in that pick, but I will take State against the number. And that brings us to the game most of you Iowa fans care about, the Hawkeyes and the Badgers. Iowa still has a shot to win this division. If they win out, that includes a win at home against Wisconsin, a win next week on the road at Minnesota, and a win against Nebraska. Illinois loses this week, and that has to happen. I mean, Illinois needs to lose to Purdue. If Purdue loses this week, if Illinois I shouldn't say they wrap up the division, but if they win this week, they're close to wrapping up this division. They would need to lose out, which would include a loss to Northwestern. I guess it's possible. It's a rivalry game last week of the season. But as you and I both know, Northwestern is a shell of what it typically is. Obviously, a couple of things need to happen for Iowa to have a shot. But first things first, they need to win this game against Wisconsin. We talked about some of the keys. If you missed my preview earlier in the week, certainly check that out. Who wins the rushing battle? I expect Wisconsin to win that battle, despite 200 yards this past week from Caleb Johnson. I know Braylon Allen's been beat up. I see this being somewhere in the range of 150 yards for Wisconsin, 75 yards for Iowa. I don't see Wisconsin putting up a $175, 200 against this Iowa front. I've been wrong on this before, but this Iowa defense has been absolutely sensational. And since the bye week, they've been great against the run. Struggled to stop the run against Illinois, struggled to stop the run against Michigan. I think they stopped the run reasonably well against a run-heavy team in Wisconsin. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but Iowa will also have problems scoring themselves. These last two defenses that Iowa have faced, not the best. I think we understand that. They have shown improvement, but I think you're going to see a bit of a step back against a really solid Wisconsin defense. Maybe not the typical defense that we see, but that 3-4 defense typically gives Iowa problems. They have a really good secondary. They create turnovers. I think Wisconsin wins on the road. 17-10, the Hawkeyes fall to the Badgers. No, I'm not a hater. I'm just calling it like I see it. Could be wrong. I was wrong last week. I had Purdue winning in West Lafayette. I've got the Badgers winning. Low-scoring game. Iowa will have a chance late, but they fall at home. 17-10. Wisconsin gets out of Dodge with the victory. Appreciate you tuning in for another episode of the show, another pick'em segment here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. A reminder, I'll be live with Coach Don Patterson, former Iowa assistant coach Don Patterson, after the game on Saturday, which begins 2:30 p.m. Central Time on Fox Sports 1. Be here from the Hawkeye of the Storm following the game.